All right, let's get into it. This is a wild story about how a national hero, a guy handpicked to be a symbol of integrity, came crashing down because of a secret he thought was buried.
Now, to really get the scale of the scandal, you first have to understand just how big a deal the Australian cricket captain is. It's not just a sports role. I mean, people seriously call it the most important job in the country. Some would say it's right up there with the Prime Minister. You're expected to be a moral compass for the entire nation.
Okay, so let's set the scene. It's March 2018, and for Australian cricket, things could not be worse. The national team had become an international embarrassment.
The whole country was reeling from this thing called Sandpaper Gate, where the team was caught red-handed cheating on camera. The captain, Steve Smith, was banned. The team's reputation was in tatters. So who do they bring in to fix this mess? A respected veteran player named Tim Paine. And he wasn't just the new captain. The media and the board branded him the clean skin. He was the guy who was going to restore honor to the game.
But here's the thing. Underneath this whole redemption story, this feel-good narrative of a clean new start, there was a secret, a ticking time bomb from Paine's past just waiting to go off.
And this timeline? This is where it all gets really, really messy. Just look at the dates. The incident itself, the explicit texts, that happened way back in November 2017, before he was captain. Then, after Sandpaper Gate, they make him captain in March 2018, and then, a few months later, they quietly hold an internal investigation and clear him. So the organization knew all about this while they were pushing his clean skin image to the world. And of course, they kept the whole thing under wraps.
Yeah, both the national body, Cricket Australia, and the state organization, Cricket Tasmania, they handled it all in-house. They decided it was basically a consensual thing between two adults, no rules were broken, and that was that. As far as they were concerned, case closed.
And for 3 whole years, it seemed like they'd gotten away with it. The secret stayed secret. Paine led the team, and he actually did a pretty good job of rebuilding their reputation. But then came November 2021, right before the biggest series in cricket. And that time bomb, it finally went off.
Just 19 days. 19 days before the Ashes, the legendary series against their arch rivals, England, Paine gets word that his private text exchange is about to become very, very public. The story was leaking.
He knew it was over. In a press conference that was thrown together at the last minute, a visibly emotional Tim Paine resigned. It was a total shock. The man who was supposed to be the symbol of integrity was now caught in his very own scandal. The fallout was massive and immediate.
And as soon as the story went public, that carefully managed, simple narrative that the cricket authorities had created, it completely fell apart. That private, consensual exchange was suddenly looking a whole lot more complicated.
And this table really lays out the core conflict, doesn't it? You've got 3 totally different versions of the same event. Paine and the official finding from 2018 say, hey, this was private, it was consensual, a one-time mistake. But the woman on the receiving end, Renee Ferguson, she called it what it was to her, an unwelcome and unsolicited explicit photo. So was it a consensual bit of fun, or was it workplace harassment? It completely depends on who you ask. And pretty soon you realize this was about way more than just one guy. The legal filings started to paint a picture of a really toxic workplace culture at Cricket Tasmania. Ferguson alleged harassment from other employees too, and when she apparently tried to complain about one incident, a manager allegedly just brushed it off with the line, "At least he has good taste in women." I mean, seriously?
So what happens next? Well, the blame game begins, of course, and this whole thing becomes a fascinating and kind of disastrous case study in how big institutions try to manage a crisis.
The leadership at Cricket Australia had changed since 2018, and the new board, they immediately started backpedaling fast. The new chairman went public and basically threw the old board under the bus. He said they'd made a huge mistake and that if it were up to him now, Paine never would have been kept on as captain.
But Paine, as you can imagine, saw it completely differently. He basically said, look, I did the wrong thing, but I went through your official process. You investigated me, you cleared me, and now you're abandoning me. In his book, he says he felt like he was completely hung out to dry by the same people who told him it was all okay.
Things got so weird that academics studying the whole affair actually coined a new term for it, penis washing. Yup, you heard that right. They argued that the institution, the administrators, parts of the media were so desperate to protect the valuable brand of the captaincy that they essentially tried to wash or sanitize the player's image to make the problem go away.
So, how did it all shake out in the end? Well, the public scandal destroyed Paine's career. He took a mental health break and then quietly retired a while later. But, and this is a really important point, the sexual harassment case that Ferguson brought against the organization was eventually dismissed. Not because a judge decided it didn't happen, but on a technicality. It was simply filed too late.
So the fall of the clean-skin captain is this perfect storm of private actions and public branding. And it leaves you with this huge question, right? When we build our leaders up to be these perfect moral symbols, who ends up paying the price when it turns out they're just human? It really makes you think.